So also I was reading on Empire's website this week about Chris Columbus did an interview where he reminisced about talking to the late Richard Donner about Goonies 2. That would have been quite a fun concept, I thought.
Yeah, not sure. It's one of them, isn't it? It's always would it have been a good sequel, but then there's also the element of would it have just ruined it, kind of thing. It's always a very tricky one to kind of approach it when you have such a classic film.
Yeah.
And it depends how far after, would it have been in the late, early 90s or something and been not too far removed from it, or would it have been?
Yeah, if they were all in their sort of late 20s, early 30s might not have been so bad, but now they're probably got to the point now where they're past their sell-by date in terms of running around, through the catacombs and the booby traps and the rest of it. But in this interview, it said, Chris Columbus said about Donner, he called me and said, "You know what we should do? We're going to get on my boat, smoke pot for 3 days, and come up with an idea for Goonies 2. So the fact that they never did it is probably a good thing, because if they just got absolutely loaded and stoned for a couple of days and then, but then also they're like, yeah, that's a great idea. It's a really good idea. Write it all down. We're going to do it. And then actually when they sober up and they come to do it, it's like, actually wasn't a good idea. You were just stoned and it seemed like a good idea. I remember Steven Spielberg sort of said about Richard Donner that he was like a big kid himself, and that's what made it work so well, because the kids really related to his energy. He had that sort of mischievous sort of, adolescent kind of demeanor, I suppose. And, it was a great film. It is a classic. I'm glad they didn't make a sequel because, like you said yourself, some things are best left as they are in the past on their own.
I think people forget with sequels and remakes and reboots most of the time, films are not just stories of themselves. Usually, they're products of their time, and they kind of represent where an industry is or a country is or whatever it happens to be. It represents a moment, and so to
try and capture that again,
it's almost impossible.
Lightning in a bottle.
Lightning in a bottle.
It is, because you think something like Back to the Future. Back to the Future is 80s. It stinks of the 80s, and it only works because of that. It's of the moment. If it had been made at another time, it probably wouldn't work.
I think let's have a little suppose about what would have happened in that. Maybe Cheech and Chong as the bad guys instead of the Fratellis. Imagine Schluffy getting caned on weed.
He's a big bong going on, skull-shaped bong.
Yeah, yeah. Thank God they left it there.
Yeah, I don't think it would have turned out well.
No, definitely not.